actually, one will be available starting next week.
What's that?
One will be available as of next week, ironically.
Next week?
Next week.
Why, when's next week?
We have a long-time town employee, 28 years, who sadly is leaving his post, I will call it, and he will be greatly missed, so.
Well, basically, I think you ought to go back to the drawing board with the full-time positions and upward.
Fair enough, thank you.
Hi, Sherry Pluna, 6973 Boston Cross Road. I've been sitting here saying, I want to get up, I want to get up. I have been working full-time for various employers for 38 years. And I know what it's like to walk into a brand new job and all of a sudden find out, holy bleep, this isn't what I thought it was going to be. It's a lot more work than I thought it was going to be. And wishing I had 60 hours to put 40 hours of work into it, or the other way around. Also, as a full-time employee for many years, I know that when somebody has had a job for a number of years and if they're at this high a salary, if they retire, the new person doesn't get that salary. The new person is going to get what everybody votes on from before. When I got into my job, I had to start at the bottom, just like everybody else. And people who have been working should realize that that's what happens. When you get a new job, you start at the bottom. You work your way up. I think you're worth every penny of that $60-some thousand, because you know what you're talking about. You talk too fast though. But you know what you're talking about. And you're good at what you do, and you keep yourself open to anybody who has a question. So I give you kudos, I give the town board kudos, and I just wanted to make sure that my voice was heard. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, all their comments, I will make a motion to close the floor, the public hearing.
Councilman Munger,
Yes.
Councilman Karakini,
Yes.
Supervisor Keating,
Yes.
Councilwoman Lubichik.
Yes, I just wanted to say thank you to everyone who made the effort to come out. I like seeing people in the chairs. I've been there, I've listened, and I've learned. So thank you for coming out and letting us hear your voices.
And I second that comment.
Yes.
Well, one thing I would like to add is we do have reports that we're going to give on how we've spent our time in the last couple of weeks, things that we've done, things that we've been involved in, and I think that it would probably be nice to have people hear that as well.
All right, moving back into the business, I will open up the floor. I know we just had a public hearing, but if anybody else wants to bring up anything to the microphone, I will open up the floor, because I did, after Mr. Burns, I did end the open floor section of the town board meeting this evening.
Daniel Purick, 6554 Chestnut Lane, also 6551 Chestnut Lane. Been a resident of this town. At the end of this month, will be 35 years since I've owned that property. I want to hit on 3 points because it's getting late. I know everybody wants to get the hell out of here. Some of you people were on the board at the time. Mr. Barrett, if he's still here, was on the board, I know for a fact. Highway supervisor wanted to put no parking signs up at the end of Chestnut Lane. There's over 36 dead-end streets in this town. No other dead-end streets have no parking signs in the summertime. This was in August. No parking in the winter for the plow turnaround, that's fine. Come to the board, he mentioned it. Balo, Ordway, Genzel, the rest of them, said, it's gotta go to public forum, public whatever. You can't just throw up no parking signs indiscriminately. Permanent no parking signs, put temporary ones up. Couple days later, there's 6, 8 permanent no parking signs at the end of Chestnut Lane, okay? For no reason, this is in August, all right? My son, that previous March, joined the Marine Corps, United States Marine Corps, he's in Camp Pendleton. His truck was parked on the street, on the grass, on my property, in August, trying to sell it. He's not coming back to the Marines for 4 years at least, maybe more. Fact, Mr. Telak, highway superintendent, abused his power, called the New York State Police. Told the New York State Police that truck is parked illegally right in front of a no parking sign. I go down, get the ticket, I go down to the state police barracks, talk to the sergeant. Sergeant says, I will look into it, see what's going on. Talk to Marty Bell, the supervisor at the time, he's gonna look into it. 2 days later, sergeant calls me back from the state police barracks, says that because of the fair, because of the Bills games, they bring in other state troopers from other parts of the town, state. Guy came in from Utica, unfamiliar with the area. He happened to get dispatched up there. Telak sees him, sees the sign, writes the ticket. New York State Police took care of the ticket. Bayless said he would take care of the ticket, but the police took care of the ticket. Okay? So there's 2 things right there that were not handled properly by the highway department in the town of Boston. One last thing I'm going to touch on. President of the Patchen Fire Department's back there to verify this also. Tree fell down on property across the street, leaning over the fire hydrant at the end of the road. I was down there, I talked to Genzel, Boardway,
You and I spoke.
Bello, you were there, I think Zachary was there. It's in February. Roads are getting plowed. Town employees are coming up there plowing the road. They don't want to cut the street out. It's laying in a turnaround. They keep complaining that they can't turn around the trucks because it's too narrow. Well, now you've got a pine tree laying there. All right, well, after about the 3rd time coming down here discussing this, Patchen Fire Department shows up on a Monday afternoon, Monday evening, about 7:30, with a bunch of recruits, about 4 or 5 middle-aged firemen. They all came up there, full gear, full fire truck. I don't know, I think they brought an ambulance just for backup. And they cut the tree up, hauled it to the end of the road. I asked the Patchen chief at the time why he was doing this, when in my eyes, should be done by the highway department. He says, well, highway department doesn't seem to have enough time to do the proper jobs that they're entitled to do, but we're going to take care of it because we will not touch that fire hydrant if there was a problem up here because of the tree was busted and leaning over the fire hydrant. Those are just 3 of the things that have been going on for the last 5.5, 6 years on Chestnut Lane. Now, in your preliminary budget, I'm not going into that, you're offering lowlife $67,000 job paid for his job for the year. All I'm saying is there's 3 instances that are verified between you, Patchen Fire Department, New York State Police, previous supervisor, that he has abused his power. And I just want you people to know that. I got a list that goes as long as my arm. I'm not keeping everybody here all night talking about it. I know my 3 minutes are up. Thank you very much. Did you got anything to say about that? Because I know you will when you talk about it later.
Yeah, I would say something about that. Last time I did any tree work at the end of Chestnut Lane, you said I was stealing the wood. Now that tree was on your property, why would I want to cut up
It
your
was on the right of way. It was
Oh, now
blocked.
it's on the right of way before it's on the.
See, you won't even let me talk now. You're crying because someone else is talking over you. So, Mr. Lowlife, why did you call the police on my son's truck? Why did you put this no parking signs up when the board told you not to unless it went to a public hearing? And why didn't you cut up the tree and had the fire department come up and do it? See? All right, well, we'll see when you give your report, because now you're gonna jab us then and we can't say nothing. Thank you for your time.
Anyone else? I will close the floor. All right, so we've covered everything under correspondence, new business, and also the old business for this evening, so I'll move on to reports and presentations. Highway Superintendent. Give me a report tonight, sorry. You're first.
First of all, I'd like to thank Leo Jensen. I think he just got up and left, but he's been a janitor for years. I'd like to thank him for his service. He's done the hall. Well, anyway, that was my first thing. Other than that, brush pickup is over for the year. Leaf pickup is going to start next Monday morning. Anybody looking for leaves, we're glad to bring them to you. So all you do is fill out a sheet. We'll be glad to drop them off. We got brush too if you're looking for wood chips, not for wood chips. But in the past 13, 14 years, I've asked the board for permission when we're down on our end of town if I can dump the leaves up on my property. We got a guy down on the west hill on the south end of town that takes maybe 15, 20 loads. We take him his loads, but from the north end of town, I'd like permission to take the leaves if it's all right with the board. Otherwise, we're going to end up having to truck them to Orchard Park and pay to get rid of them.
I'd make a motion to allow the highway superintendent to dispose of leaves on his property.
Second.
Councilman Munger,
Yes.
Councilman Karakini,
Yes.
Supervisor Keating,
Yes.
Councilwoman Lukacek,
Yes.
Councilwoman Martin,
Yes.
motion carries.
And Leo's back now, so I'd like to thank Leo Jensen for his service in the town, for being a janitor. He did a great work there.
There's some crazy times with my job, but I've appreciated all these years and put up with quite a bit of stuff with other people and things like that, but it's all been worked out well. And I hope the future for me and my wife are gonna be a good one.
Congratulations.
In warm climates.
All right, and then the only other thing I really want to touch on a little bit is a couple residents talked about county snow plowing. And it wasn't that I was asking the county for more money. I was just asking them for the money that they owed us for the contract. They deducted $5,000 because they had to go up and push the snowbanks back with their high list, where it stated very clearly in the contract, if the town was going to do it, they had to approve the work for us to do it, and they would pay us to do it. It wasn't our job to push the snowbanks back with the high lifts. So the county did it. They deducted $5,000 from the county, our bill. So that was the last year we ever plowed. Plus, the county roads are in such a terrible condition. Pond, Back Creek Road, and some of these other roads, it just destroys your trucks. So that's kind of the story with the snow plowing, but thank you, Mr. Hawkins. And you're right, we are up and down on Peleus Road so many times, and with the price of fuel, the price of overtime, the price of salt at the time, the salt's over $50 a ton, we lost money on that. I know Mr. Burns thinks we made all that money. Well, you don't make that much money when you got the trucks out plowing day and night. It's not like the county that does it once or twice a day. We did a tremendously good job. And other than that, there's a lot of new people here tonight, so I'd like to touch a little bit on the audit that Mr. Mihailo did, county controller, since there's some new people here. Because he reported, now this wasn't me, this is from the controller. He said the squad department was missing $195,000 worth of trucks. The assessor's office, $7,147. Code enforcement, $6,305. Dog control, $14,000. Election machines, the voting machines that were the county's machines that they melted down and scrapped. They said the town was missing $22,000 worth of voting machines that the county scrapped. Is that correct, Leo?
I do believe we took them in there and delivered
Exactly.
them. I don't know where they went after that, but.
Exactly. Well, I got a front page here in Buffalo News with Mr. Ralph Moore showing and telling the story about how they scrapped them, but they don't know how much money they got for them. Beautiful thing. And then the Justice Department, $4,433. Parks Department, $34,000. Supervisor's Office, $11,992. Town Board, $5,099. Town Clerk, $19,500. And then the good old highway department, we only had 1,142,000, we were the grand prize winners. But the thing is, there was two different lists. He had one list of stuff that Mr. Mahailu said was missing, $641,000 worth of stuff missing, and he had the other list of stuff that was here, and all that stuff was on the other list. So Mr. Mahailu, when it comes time for voting, I would really think about who you're voting for there. And other than that, I think that's probably all I got tonight. Have a good night.
Thank you. Ready for the town?
I'm sure everyone is probably relieved that I have nothing I must report tonight that hasn't been touched upon or won't be touched upon by another report.
Thanks. Councilman Munger.
Yes, just want to remind everybody that Friday evening is the Town of Boston's Library Gala, is the word I'm looking for. So please go out and support the library. Also, on October the 27th, there is going to be a play being put on at the Boston Valley Elementary School. It's all based on the Love Murder and has been...
You said 27th, it's the
22nd.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, yes. If I said 27, which is a strong possibility. That's another date that I have to talk about. Yes, the 22nd. And it's, again, about the Love Murder. Should be an interesting time if you have the availability to get out to see that. Also, the 27th is a trunk or treat at the Boston Fire Company and open house. I think that's everything, Mr. Supervisor.
Thank you very much.
Can I have one more second?
No.
And one more thing I'd like to say. That audit went back 40 years. I was in high school when they went back that far. Some of the equipment was gone 35, 40 years before I got here. And that's all.
Councilman Carter Keating.
Thank you, Supervisor Keating. I want to let everybody know that the Friday night rec info is going to be sent out within the next week or two. Anybody that's interested in...
You gotta use the other door. There's a metal detector on that side. Sorry, Michael.
Anybody that's interested in being a counselor for Friday Night Rec should, there's an application online or in the clerk's office, and those would be submitted to the rec director, Tony Ziniak, or myself. Also, we are going to reboot the ethics committee, and we're looking for 5 people that are interested in serving their community. It's a volunteer position, and anybody is welcome to apply for it. I'm going to head that up, so my email is listed on the website, or my phone number is listed on the website. Feel free to give me a call. And one thing I'll add on the budget discussion, and I was hoping that everybody had stayed for this, but one of the things that we do every year as a budget is we break this out by position. And there's nothing to say that you can't take a position and make it full-time, and then once the dust is settled and the work is done, and the heavy lifting is done, to straighten out the things that we've been addressing in this town since we took office, there's nothing that says that you can't take that back to a part-time position. And one of the things that I looked at this year, and Jason and I spoke at length at this when we were campaigning last year, and he did say he wanted this to be a full-time position. And I said, okay, you're going to do the job for the year as a part-time paid employee. And he said, that's very true. I said, my suggestion to you is to document the time and all the things that you did throughout the year in service of the community. And I agree. I'm a little taken back by the number, but when I look and I compare what's been done in the community, all the time that's been spent, all the seminars that were gone and attended and learning to help our community to be a better community, all the relationships that you build, going to other meetings, going to things that are not political, but are meetings of other town officials, breakfasts, lunches, things like that. Those things all take time. And when people look at taking they're looking at the number, and it's easy to single that out because it's a big number. But when you look at it and you break it down by hour, by day, by event, And a lot of those things aren't free, and a lot of them we pay for out of our pockets to go and do and attend. It's not an expense to the town. A resident said to me very recently that he was disappointed that the board members didn't take a raise. And I thought that that was shocking to hear that. And his rationale wasn't about the money. It was about attracting good people that are willing to do the job and take a modest pay for a job that you serve. And I thought that was very profound. And I appreciated the sentiment. It's not about the money, but there's not one person that spoke tonight that would do a full-time job for half pay. And in the reality of the town of Austin today, the only thing that I'll add is it's been, and I have the luxury of flexibility in my time. I spend a lot of time here. I spend a lot of time going to, today we met with a builder and Bob and on a road. I mean, that stuff takes time to do. Then I spent time in the community room today for the luncheon and the recognition for Leo. There's a lot of things that people don't ever see that you do. You don't ever call it out to get credit for it. But when you're looking at a full-time position, and we all know, and I attended these meetings like many of you, where you sat through the discourse and the bad behavior and just the vitriol that was this town, which is why I decided to get involved. But when you look at all those things and you're starting to see, the onion get peeled back and you see all the issues that are coming to light, it's sobering the amount of time that it takes to deal with that. I give Jason a lot of credit for the time that he's taken away from his family, away from his personal life to deal with all these issues. And unfairly, I think that Drescher and Malecki took some hits tonight. Ellie does a terrific job for us, and she's organized, and she understands the legalities of what we're dealing with today. There's a lot of holes in the budget. There are a lot of problems with the accounting, and it takes time to flesh all that out. I don't know where I sit on the budget right now, and I'll be honest and transparent about that. But I will say this. When I look at the time that was spent, and I look at the commitment that was given to the community, you have to factor that when you're looking at that. That's all I have tonight.
Thank you very much. Councilwoman Lukacek.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. The planning board will be meeting again the first Tuesday of next month. Changes were presented from whatever name you want to call the Emerling area. That will be reviewed again more thoroughly at the next meeting on Tuesday, November 6th. And that's all I have.
Okay, thank you very much. Councilwoman Martin.
Well, I just wanted to let everybody know. It's the 13th.
Wow, thank you.
Again, correcting the date. Thank you. The next Conservation Advisory Council meeting will be Monday, October 22nd at 7 p.m. in the mailroom. Again, we're meeting new members. There's a couple of people that offered to sign up at our LEAP event. Go ahead, Allison. Planning room. Oh, planning room? Okay. We're in the planning room now. We'll be discussing the snowshoe program coming up for the winter, so if anybody wants to attend. And the zoning board next meeting will be Thursday, November 1st at 7:15 p.m. here. And that's all I have.
All right, thank you very much. Town clerk.
Okay, thank you. The town clerk's monthly report for September has been submitted to the supervisor. During the past month of school tax collection, as all of you know, that the clerk's office does not collect the school taxes. Excuse me. But we did receive over 90 phone calls and residents coming into the office to pay their school taxes. These are the residents of our town, my town, Boston. I was honored to have Lois as my full-time deputy to help everyone that comes into my office or calls our office regarding these school taxes. We directed them on where they were to go. We directed them on where to look on their bill. So they could either go to the proper clerk's office or to mail that tax bill. That is just one of the things that we do to serve the residents of our town. The VNA flu shot clinic was very successful this year. There were, the pharmacist was here last Friday. There was 32 vaccines that that were given. There was up quite a bit from last year, only 6. So that was a great turnout. The Children's Halloween Party will be at the Town Hall on Friday, October 26th from 6 to 8 p.m. So come now for that traditional event. Churchill Memorial United Methodist Church Fish Dinner will be on Friday, October 26th also, and that is from 4 to 7. And just one last note is I certainly do appreciate everyone that serves on this board, and the attorney for the town, Sean, and TLAC, because whenever I reach out to any of them, they are available. Lois also, I'm very appreciative of everything that all of you do, because that is very refreshing when someone will call in and wants to reach Mr. Telak's office, and they are able to direct them to any of the board members, and it's very refreshing to be able to transfer the call to the supervisor's office and have Jason or Liz available. Thank you, that's all I have.
Thank you very much. I just got a couple things, and I was going to late in the evening, and I appreciate everybody staying as late as they have tonight. Code Red, that information did go out on the town website, also out on the town Facebook page. That is something that is actually built into the budget for up into next year, again, preliminary budget. But it is something, once again, that I still, I guess we'll say hold the line on, that I feel is needed for our community. So we'll, depending on the adoption of the budget, Code Red will likely end up having it for our community. On October 10th, the Highway Department, as I mentioned at the last town board meeting, the Highway Department did receive their new generator that was installed and established. The traffic light signal that's in front of, or was in front of the Passion Fire Department is no longer. That was something that was passed, finally cleaned up. I don't know about you, just my own personal opinion, when I'm walking down the street, it's actually, it's a nice line of sight down Boston State Road. But I will also give a really nice thank you and shout out to the West Seneca Highway Department. They partnered with our highway department. Our highway department supplied a few flaggers because we don't have the technical expertise to remove those lines. But the West Seneca Highway Department, Matt English, Highway Superintendent Matt English, I'm sorry, and his crew came out and removed those lines for us actually at no charge to our community. So it just goes to show that when you can work with other communities and you can partner on things, you can actually get stuff done.